Live from Rapid City, Post 22 Baseball is on the air. It's a late start for us because of all the weather coming into town, but officially tonight, right now, for the Hardhats, the 43rd Annual Firecracker Tournament begins. They'll square off against the Missoula Mavericks. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, everybody. With that being said, we welcome you inside Rudy's Corner here at Floyd Fitzgerald Stadium. Mark Benetti alongside you in the broadcast booth here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and as always, stream live on the internet on Hardhats-TV. Post 22's coming off of a split against the Sheridan Troopers on Tuesday afternoon. They took the 10-4 win in Game 1 in just less than 2 hours, and in about less than an hour and a half, they did not have a great showing in Game 2, simply put, and they lost 8-0 against the Troopers to finish off their 4-game series head-to-head. Now the Hardhats turn their attention to the 43rd Firecracker Tournament. Earlier today, there were 2 other games played prior to tonight's first Hardhats matchup of the competition. Rocky Mountain Lobos took a 7-6 win over Merced, California. And then Terre Haute, Indiana, despite long rain delays, ended up taking a 9-6 victory against the Premier West Cardinals. And speaking with Coach Torvey about the tournament earlier, he said that the round-robin stage was changed to 9 innings. Championship July 4th will be 7-inning games to determine placement. And so you look at the circumstance surrounding that, and that's because the Hardhats only have 6 teams total in this bracket. If they had 8 teams, then they were going to go and play the normal 7-inning game tournament and all that jazz. But because there are 2 fewer teams, that means fewer games of baseball. So in order for most of these teams to still participate in this tournament, they wanted to make sure they got enough baseball to develop their teams and give them some good competition for the week. So they decided to make them 9-inning games. And that's exactly what we have right now in front of us. So Post 22 in Missoula squaring off in this tournament. This is not the first time both of these teams met. They met on May 13th in what was a narrow 2-1 win. Real pitchers duel in that matchup. Dylan Chalmers ended up taking on Holden Jackson, and then Jake Goebel and Connor King finished out the last 2 innings of the 7 in Post 22 thanks to thanks to 2 runs, in the second and third innings. Were able to take a 2-1 win. They gave up one in the top of the 7th. Leadoff man was Dane Frazier. He walked and eventually came around, but they had the bases loaded with 2 outs, and Clayton Frankie grounded out to third to end the ball game. So, Post 22, rematching the Mavericks. Should be a very interesting competition. This Missoula club has always played the Hardhats very tough in recent memory. That also goes to earlier this season as well, so it should be a fantastic matchup for the Mavericks and the Hardhats to kick off their portion of the Firecracker Tournament. Later this week, the Hardhats will play in 4 more games. And tomorrow at 7 o'clock, they'll take on Merced, California. That is a highly anticipated showdown. On Sunday, they'll play against Terre Haute, Indiana, who's already 1-0. On Monday, they'll take on Premier West, who by then would probably have their first win of the tournament. Tuesday, the final game of round robin, the Hardhats will take on Rocky Mountain. And then Wednesday, if they play for the title, 5 o'clock is when they would square off against their adversary. Rules of the tournament are governed by the American Legion rulebook. They are 9-inning games, but like we mentioned, only 7 innings on the 4th of July to determine placement. There is an 8-run rule after 7 innings of play if the home team is leading. There's a 15-run rule after 5 innings of play. Because this is round-robin format, the tiebreaker of the tournament goes on head-to-head record first, then it's least runs allowed, most runs scored, and then the coin flip in that order. Coach Dave Plouffe organized the first ever Firecracker Tournament in 1975 with 6 teams participating, so how ironic on the 43rd anniversary of the tournament we pull a page out of Coach Plouffe's book. And from there it turned into a tournament where a lot of premier competition came around from the United States to take on Post 22. I recall last year Yakima, Washington made a visit out here. The years prior to that, Creighton Prep and Millard South have been out here, Excelsior, Minnetonka. So many great teams, a lot of fantastic competition. Eden Prairie would come out here a couple of times since I've been calling this tournament. So it's fantastic baseball all week long. July 3rd, we've got the fireworks showcase at the field after round-robin plays ended. And then obviously on the 4th of July itself, we will crown a Firecracker champion. The sprinklers are off in the infield, And both teams are now retreating to their respective dugouts. So with that being said, let's go ahead and give you the starting lineups for tonight's 9-inning showdown between Missoula and Post 22. The Mavericks will bat in the top halves of our 9 innings of regulation. Their order is as follows. Leading off is number 2, James Martin. Defensively, he's at second base. Batting second is number 10, Brendan Buchanan. He's out at the shortstop position. Batting third is number 7, Dane Frazier, playing out at first base. And in the cleanup position is number 13, Trad Richardson. He's the designated hitter. Batting fifth is number 3, Brendan Hill, patrolling center field. Batting sixth is number 14, Connor Daniels. He's patrolling right field. Batting seventh is number 16, Sam Busey, patrolling left field. Batting eighth is number 8, Braden Jacobson. He's in the hot corner at third base. And rounding out the batting order in the 9th spot is number 9, Clayton Frankie, and he is the starting catcher. On the mound is Caden Heydrich, number 11, and he will take on the Hardhats batting order as follows in the bottom halves of our 9 innings of regulation tonight. Leading off for Post 22 is number 13, Connor King. He's patrolling center field. Batting second is number 10, Ryan Bachman. He's in the hot corner at third base. Batting third is number 22, Cooper Bowman, as always out at the shortstop position. And in the cleanup spot for the Hardhats is number 23, Jack Sorensen. He's out in the field at first base. Batting fifth is number 30, Jace Caldwell. He's the designated hitter tonight for the Hardhats. Batting sixth is number 20, Holden Jackson. He's patrolling left field. Batting seventh is number 15, Zach Sumption, patrolling right field. Batting eighth for the Hardhats is number 25, Ryan Schmidt, the backstopper and catcher. And rounding out the batting order in the 9th spot for Post 22 is number 12, Mason Messenger, and he is out at second base. On the mound tonight for the Hardhats is Dylan Ritchie. He's the workhorse of the starting rotation, leads the team with 37 2/3 innings of work under his belt, just 2 2/3 innings ahead of Zach Weitzel. Ritchie comes in for his 9th appearance of the season and his 8th by virtue of his start. A perfect 4-0 record on the line against the Mavericks tonight. He has a 2.23 ERA as well as 42 strikeouts, leading the Hardhats roster to 20 walks on the season. He's only hit 4 batsmen as well. He's allowed 27 hits in his 37 2/3 innings. He's allowed 17 runs, only 12 of which are earned. Cloudy skies because it was raining and hailing. If I told you it was fire and brimstone too, that also probably would be true because some other parts of the state definitely got that. Some softball-sized hail as well. But definitely cloudy skies. It's 60 degrees, and there's a certain element of wind and a couple of flashes out in the distance. You know, that's not gonna affect any of this right here. And so we'll see just exactly how the weather plays out for us. I haven't looked at a Doppler to see if anything's going to come right back around, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was some kind of debate about the weather. Oh, wait a second. Hang on here. Coach Clapprich has just motioned to the booth. I think the flashes we saw out in the mountains kind of gave our umpiring crew a little bit to worry about. Both coaches and our umpires, Chris Groves and Burt Reddy, are discussing. I don't know if that's their lineup exchange or if they are discussing Mother Nature's involvement in tonight's showdown. With it being 9-inning games, it's going to be very tough to make up games in this tournament. If they were 7s, it's a little easier to pack in a 7-inning game throughout a day's worth of activity, but 9-inning showdowns, that could be a tad bit rough. And again, both of our managers talking with our umpires right now. There were a couple of flashes over in the hills, so I don't know if they're saying, hey, maybe that was it, let's play, or if there's a rule that has to be invoked to delay the game even further, which would be horrible at this point. Hardhats have already waited 45 minutes to get a 7 o'clock game started. Premier West and Terre Haute were delayed for quite some time. I recall getting to the ballpark at about 6, just after 6 o'clock, knowing that rain was going to have some kind of a factor. Maybe it had died off. But the game between Terre Haute and Premier West was in the top of the 9th inning, and I don't think they resumed play until just about 7. So they were delayed for at least an hour. Anything before that, I'm not privy to. They had to put the tarp out, so probably longer than that as well. I'd venture maybe an hour and 15, hour and a half. They were delayed in their matchup. The games are spaced out enough to where if there's a delay, it's not the end of the world. I'm looking at all these time slots. The first game of the day is at 11 in the morning. Game 2 is at 3. Game 3 is at 7. So you think a 9-inning game would go about 2.5 hours, 3 at the max, unless weather like today or extra innings was involved. So weather definitely playing a factor here in day 1 of the tournament. Earlier tournament action, like we mentioned, saw Rocky Mountain defeat Merced, California 7-6. And then Terre Haute defeated Premier West 9-6. So right now, Rocky Mountain and Terre Haute are the 2 1-0 teams, and Merced, California, Premier West are the 0-1 teams. Post 22 takes on the Missoula Mavericks, and after tonight, barring any other delays, everybody will have a game played in the tournament. Tomorrow, Missoula will take on Terre Haute in the morning at 11 a.m. Rocky Mountain will square off against Premier West. That's a Rocky Mountain matchup there between 2 teams out of Colorado. And then the nightcap is the Hardhats taking on Merced, California. And then July 1st, Merced will get the morning game. They'll take on Premier West. Missoula will then take on Rocky Mountain, and the Hardhats will square off against Terre Haute, Wayne Newton, post 346. Monday the 2nd, it'll be Premier West taking on Rapid City, and that's always a great matchup. Premier West has some great talent. They've played the Hardhats very tough over the years. And then on Tuesday, Missoula will take on Premier West to close out group play. Terre Haute against Merced, California, and then the last team yet to play the Hardhats at that time would be Rocky Mountain, and they would play at 7 o'clock. With the games being 7 innings on July 4th, the games will still start at 11 on the 4th of July. That'll be the 5th place game. The 3rd place game would then be at 2 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock would be the championship game with the 2 best records in the tournament. We saw just another flash of lightning over the mountains in the distance, and that's got to be within a certain radius if this team is to, or if this game is to be delayed or keep going. We're still waiting on word from that. Coach Clapperich had motioned up to the booth to tell them to stop announcing the lineups, and then the Mavericks immediately retreated to theirs because they were in the middle of their lineup. I think they were at the 8th position in the batting order. And the umpires came out. They made a motion. Coach Clapperich looked at the box and said, all right, guys, that's enough. And then the Mavericks retreated into their dugout, and both teams are still in their dugouts. The umpires are still out on the field, but we just don't know yet what the game plan is. If we're going to play, if we're delayed for a bit. So we'll see just exactly what happens. I'm going to step aside for a real quick moment, folks, see what I can learn about this delay, and hopefully give you some kind of concrete information in the next few minutes. We'll be right back here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV just prior to what we hope will be the Missoula Mavericks against the Post 22 Hardhats. All right, well, we got some good news and bad news, folks. The good news is, as of right now, the Hardhats and the Mavericks are going to play. The bad news is we have to wait another 15 minutes. The umpires, at their discretion, have called for a lightning delay. Like I said, there were a couple of bolts of lightning in the horizon that they saw, and they're going to wait it out just a little bit, 15 minutes. And hopefully, knock on wood, we will get this first matchup of the Firecracker underway between the Post 22 Hardhats and the Missoula Mavericks. Both of these teams played back on May 13th. It was a doubleheader of a conclusion of a 3-game series that weekend against the Billings Royals, the Billings Scarlets, and the Missoula Mavericks. It was supposed to be a 4-game set of 2 doubleheaders, but weather prevented 4 games from being played. So the Hardhats ended up playing a single 9-inning game against the Royals, and that ended up being their first loss of the season. And then the second time around, Post 22 ended up playing against the Scarlets and the Mavericks. And Post 22 ended up winning both games. They beat the Mavericks 2-1. Just a pitching duel between Holden Jackson and Dylan Chalmers. Chalmers is listed as a reserve in this matchup for the Mavericks. But in that first game, he was pitching lights out. He struck out 6 on 63 pitches in 6 innings of work. He only walked 1, allowed 2 runs on just 3 hits. And I'm looking at his pitch spread throughout the innings. 6, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 7 in his 6 innings of work. He was masterful. And he threw one heck of a ball game for the Mavericks, but the Hardhats ended up taking the win. Hits, offense, they were few and far between. There was one inning, actually, where Post 22 had a run on no hits. That was the 3rd inning where they scored the game-winning run eventually. Just looking back at the scorebook here, that was Carter Deming. Carter Deming led off, walked on a full count, stole second, a ground out moved him to third, and then Connor King had an RBI ground out to knock him in. That made it 2-0, and the Hardhats eventually got the win. But I'm looking at this box score too, and of the 6 strikeouts that Chalmers issued, I'm seeing 4 backwards Ks. So the Hardhats, granted that was only their 8th game of the season, and they were 6-1, but they were still trying to find themselves. So that was a great matchup, though. I do recall that. And then, like I said earlier in our pregame coverage, in the top of the 7th, the Mavericks loaded the bases up. Dane Frazier led off with a walk. There was a fly out, another walk, and a single. The infield fly rule was invoked to get the second out. There was an RBI base on balls to knock in the only run the Mavericks scored. And then Clayton Frankie, with the bases loaded on a full count, grounded out to third. And that was all she wrote. If the Mavericks had scored, though, then the Hardhats would have had a chance to reciprocate in the bottom half of the 7th, but they didn't need it. They held on, and they got the win over the Mavericks. That game went 1 hour and 19 minutes. That was a very short game. And again, that was all the way back on May 13th, which just feels like ages ago. So, just waiting on a lightning delay right now between the Hardhats and the Mavericks. This is the last game of the day for pool play. So you would hate to see this game get pushed back again. And now it looks like, if I'm looking correctly into the crowd, there is some rain. Umbrellas are coming out. You've got to hope that that doesn't delay us any longer. Bad enough we're already in a 15-minute rain delay. That now the elements are starting to really come into effect. As long as nothing comes into the booth, we have nice equipment up here. I don't want to have to put up the window pane, because then that takes a lot of work. Got to finagle a couple of things around. And that's just not good for everybody. This Firecracker tournament is something else. It's really a spectacle. This is the 43rd running of the tournament. I've had a blast calling it. Every year I've had a chance to call it, there has always been one memorable game, one moment that you can take from it, and you remember just about everything there is to remember about it. I remember the second Firecracker I had. the second Firecracker tournament. Post 22 played against Millard South, and it was just unbelievable how well played that game was. And it turns out that it was a duel back and forth. It was Cody Carlson against their ace, and they were just dealing left and right. I think into the 6th inning, there was a combined, I'm trying to think, there was a combined maybe 12 strikeouts. And what a fantastic baseball game it was. Bottom of the 6th inning, Matt Vickers comes up, and he hits a shot over the right field wall to give the Hardhats a 1-0 lead. They ended up winning the game 3-1. And Millard South, the year prior, had beaten them twice on Championship Sunday in regional championship play to end up taking the regional title and go to the World Series. But what a memorable matchup that was. And then last year, the Hardhats went 10 innings against Rocky Mountain, and Timmy Paris hit a leadoff, walk-off blast in the bottom of the 10th to get the Hardhats the win. It was unbelievable. They are announcing the lineups now. Looks like we're going to get back to playing, so let's go ahead and reintroduce the lineups for tonight's matchup between Missoula and the Hardhats. Missoula is batting in the top halves of our 9 innings of regulation tonight. Hopefully we get through all 9. Knock on wood. Leading off for the Mavericks is number 2, James Martin. He's out at second base. Batting second is number 10, Brendan Buchanan, at the shortstop position. Batting third is number 7, Dane Frazier, playing at first base. And in the cleanup spot is number 13, Trad Richardson. He'll serve as the designated hitter. Batting fifth is number 3, Brendan Hill, patrolling center field. Batting sixth is number 14, Connor Daniels, patrolling right field. Batting seventh is number 16, Sam Busey, patrolling left field. Batting eighth is number 8, Braden Jacobson. He's in the hot corner at third base. And rounding out the batting order in the 9th spot for the Mavericks is number 9, Clayton Frankie, and he is at the catcher position. On the mound is number 11, Caden Heydrich, and he will take on the Hardhats lineup in the bottom halves of our 9 innings of regulation as follows. Leading off for the Hardhats is number 13, Connor King. He's patrolling center field. Batting second is number 10, Ryan Bachman. He's in the hot corner at third base. Batting third is number 22, Cooper Bowman, out at the shortstop position. And in the cleanup spot is number 23, Jack Sorensen, and he's in the field at first base. Batting fifth is number 30, Jace Caldwell, serving as the designated hitter tonight for the Hardhats. Batting sixth is number 20, Holden Jackson. He's patrolling left field. Batting seventh is number 15, Zach Sumption, patrolling right field. Batting eighth is number 25, Ryan Schmidt, the backstopper and catcher. And rounding out the batting order in the 9th spot is number 12, Mason Messenger, and he's out at second base. On the mound tonight for the Hardhats is Dylan Ritchie with his perfect 4-0 record on the line. This will be his 9th appearance of the season, 8th by virtue of his start. He leads the Hardhats in both innings pitched and strikeouts on the season with 37 2/3 innings of work under his belt, 42 strikeouts to 20 walks, and a 2.23 ERA to his credit. Folks, we're going to finish up the starting lineups, have the presentation of the colors and the performance of the United States National Anthem. We'll take a step aside, and when we come back, we will finally get this matchup started between the Missoula Mavericks and your Post 22 Hardhats. The first game, round-robin action for the Hardhats in the 43rd Annual Firecracker Tournament, presented by Camping World. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV with First Pitch. We're all set now for first pitch between the Post 22 Hardhats and the Missoula Mavericks. Game 1 of round-robin play of the 43rd Annual Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and as always, stream live on the internet on Hardhats-TV. We had a very long delay to get this game started. It was supposed to start at 7 tonight. It's currently reading 8:03 on my phone. We still don't have first pitch just yet. The Hardhats have taken to their respective defensive positions. We have a ceremonial first pitch as of right now. And then all of a sudden we'll get rocking and rolling for this matchup. First game of pool play between the Hardhats and the Missoula Mavericks. Both of these teams met on May 13th, and the Hardhats took a narrow 2-1 victory. 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and the Mavericks had a run on 3 hits and no errors. So we'll see if this rematch gives us a little more offense or if this is going to be another duel. And one super exciting way to start off this Firecracker tournament for both of these teams. Well, now Dylan Ritchie starting to throw his warm-up pitches. He will take on the top of the Mavericks order to kick off this ball game. James Martin, the second baseman, Brendan Buchanan, the shortstop, Dane Frazier, the first baseman. We're playing 9 innings tonight. Talking with Coach Torvey prior to the start of this matchup, he said that the reason they elongated the games was because there's fewer teams in the tournament. So fewer teams meant fewer games. It was a way to give everybody practically the same amount of innings they'd have as if there were 2 more teams and you were playing 7-inning games the whole way through. So, nice little nod there. Everybody's going to get a chance to get in the lineup at some point and play some great baseball as well. Dylan Ritchie on the mound for the Hardhats. Team leading 37 2/3 innings of work under his belt. Team leading 42 strikeouts, compared to 20 walks, a 2.23 ERA. His 9th appearance of the season, his 8th by virtue of a start, and he is a perfect 4-0 on the year. Defensive alignment for the Hardhats has Ritchie and his right arm on the mound, paired up with the catcher Ryan Schmidt. At first is Jack Sorensen. At second, Mason Messenger. At shortstop, Cooper Bowman. And in the hot corner at third is Ryan Bachman. Left to right in the outfield, Holden Jackson, Connor King, and Zach Sumption. Tonight's umpires are Chris Groves on the base path, and Burt Reddy will be calling the balls and strikes behind home plate. The Hardhats come into the pitcher's mound. They knock their hard hats together. That's a symbol to let us know we are ready to rock and roll for tonight's matchup. James Martin, the second baseman, a right-handed batter, will step in against Ritchie for the first time in this ballgame. We're underway just about 1 minute and 6 seconds off schedule. An hour and 6 minutes, I mean. Here comes Ritchie. First pitch. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to center field. Connor King's trying to track it. He's underneath it in shallow center, and he makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 up, 1 down. And that's going to bring us to Brendan Buchanan, the shortstop. Buchanan steps in. He did not play. I'm sorry, he did play. He was in the leadoff spot that matchup back on May 13th, and he went 1 for 3. Batting in the 2-hole tonight. First pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1 the count. No balls and a strike to Buchanan. Empty base path and 1 out here in the top of a scoreless first. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball misses low, and the count evens up at 1-1. In between innings, I'm going to try and post a picture to social media here, but you have to see the backdrop we have right now. The sun is blaring to the outfield, and there's a rainbow arcing over the outfield wall. Next pitch is in the dirt for 2 balls and a strike. It's remarkable to see, and Seth on Hardhats-TV, our director, is trying to get a nice shot of it too. My goodness. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Pitch is swung on, chopped to third. Bachman's got it, bats it down. Throw to first is in time for out number 2. Nice recovery there by Bachman. He had a good handle on the ball at the start. Took a weird hop on him, but he was square to the ball. So he batted it down in front of him, was able to field it in front of him, and get the throw off just in the nick of time. 2 up, 2 down now brings us to Dane Frazier, the first baseman. Frazier batted in the 3 spot in that first matchup on May 13th and went 0 for 2 with a walk, the only run scored for the Mavericks, and he grounded into a double play as well. Frazier fouls off his first pitch. He's behind 0-1. 2 outs for Frazier with an empty base path. Here in the top of a scoreless first inning. Ritchie will pitch again from the stretch. There's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, called strike. No balls, 2 strikes now to Frazier as Ritchie's looking for that first K to end the top of the first. He'd send King, Bachman, and Bowman to the sticks for the Hardhats. 0-2 pitch. Just missed upstairs on a fastball. It's 1-2. Right at about the letters of Frazier. Missoula wearing navy jerseys, silver lettering, and white pants. The Hardhats wearing their red tops and white pants. Dark blue unders. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball just missed inside. Count evens to 2-2. That was a great pitch from Ritchie because it started towards the batter and broke towards the inside corner of the plate, but it didn't break enough. 2-2 pitch. Swung on, and the ball's ripped foul. And into the Mavericks bullpen. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That was just the 10th pitch of the inning for Ritchie. He got an out on the first pitch. It took him 4 to get the second. He's on pitch number 5 of this at-bat. 2-2, swung on and missed, strike 3. And that'll do it. Top of the first has come to an end. The Hardhats do so in 1-2-3 fashion on defense, which, as we all know, means no runs, hits, errors, or anybody left on base. We've played half an inning of baseball, and the Hardhats still have to come to bat in a scoreless deadlock. We'll take a step aside and come right back with Connor King, Ryan Bachman, and Cooper Bowman slated to hit here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Hardhats now transition from defense to offense. Connor King, Ryan Bachman, and Cooper Bowman slated to hit here in the bottom half of the first period. They'll come up against the righty, Caden Heydrich of the Missoula Mavericks. Ritchie got out of the first inning in the top half of the inning in 11 pitches. We'll see if Heydrich can match that success. Defensive alignment for the Mavericks has Heydrich in his right arm on the mound, paired up with Clayton Frankie behind home plate. At first is Dane Frazier. At second, James Martin. At shortstop, Brendan Buchanan. And in the hot corner at third is Braden Jacobson. Left to right in the outfield, Sam Busey, Brendan Hill, and Connor Daniels. Connor King steps in, the only lefty in the Hardhats batting order. And he's in the leadoff position as well. Heydrich will come from the stretch, and his first pitch. Called strike, a fastball at King's knees. 0-1. King batting .290 on the season, 27 for 93 in 128 plate appearances. He's walked 27 times this year. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that one skips low. 1-1. 27 walks on the year compared to 16 strikeouts for King. 18 ribbies and 35 runs scored. Ball and a strike his count. Heydrich from the stretch. Outside, a fastball, it's 2-1. King on the season has 21 singles, 5 doubles, a triple, and has not left the yard yet. Still plenty of time for that to happen. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Called strike, fastball in the outside corner, and now it's 2-2 for the lefty King against the righty Heydrich. King, the leadoff man here in the bottom of a scoreless first inning. Heydrich is set. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that misses low, and the count goes full. Nice pitch for Heydrich, 2-2. Go with something that started in the zone and broke down, and King didn't offer, though. Payoff pitch coming to King. First full count of the entire ballgame. Here is the 3-2. Pitch is swung on. Ball's hit sky high in the air to shallow center field. Three gentlemen converge. James Martin at second calling off everybody else. He makes the catch, and that'll be out number 1 here in the bottom half of the first. 1 up, 1 down for the Hardhats on offense, and that'll now bring us to Ryan Bachman. Bachman, a recent addition to the regular varsity lineup. Only the 13th game in which he is swinging the bat. .393 average. He is 11 for 28 on the year with 8 singles and 3 doubles. First pitch to Bachman. Misses low. Skips in the dirt. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. Bachman has 11 RBI and 8 runs scored. He's struck out only once on the year and has walked 6 times. So great plate discipline from the first 2 hitters in the lineup. King with 27 walks. Bachman with 6. 1-0, called strike. That's a fastball at his knees. 1-1. Bachman playing over at third base. Matt Hegre started the season off at that position. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, a breaking ball. 1-2. Heydrich looking for that first strikeout. And a 1-2 punch to start off the inning on the first 2 batters. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Heydrich comes from the set. And the 1-2 to Bachman. Swung on, ball's pushed to second. James Martin's there with the stop. Throw to first is in time for out number 2. 4-3 in the book. 2 up, 2 down for the Hardhats on offense will now bring us to Cooper Bowman, the shortstop. How many times have I said this? Cooper Bowman leads in virtually every offensive statistical category that the Hardhats have. A .483 batting average, 43 RBI, 53 runs scored, 9 triples, 5 home runs, 58 for 120 on the season and 144 plate appearances. Struck out 12 times and walked 19. First pitch from Heydrich. Breaking ball called strike. At the knees of Bowman, 0-1. Bowman has an empty base path and 2 outs here in the bottom of a scoreless first inning. Hardhats taking on the Missoula Mavericks in Game 1 of round-robin play, 43rd Annual Firecracker Tournament. 0-1 pitch is pushed opposite field into right for a base hit. And Cooper Bowman gets the first hit of the ball game, and it's a 2-out single. And now the cleanup man, Jack Sorensen, the first baseman, comes up. Jack, a right-handed batter. Showcasing a lot of power this season, .387 average. He is 36 for 93 on the year and 117 plate appearances. Struck out 10 times, he's walked 14. Cooper Bowman checked down at first, so Sorensen has yet to see a first pitch. Sorensen on the year, 35 ribbies and 33 runs scored. He has 10 extra base hits on the year as well. First pitch, swung on, ball's hit high in the air. Foul territory, first base side, and that'll go into the crowd. Sorensen starts off 0-1. He has 4 doubles, 5 triples, and 1 solo home run under his belt. Check down to first again, so we have yet to see an 0-1 pitch. Bowman's back safely at first. And Heydrich gets the ball back from first baseman Dane Frazier. Bowman on first with 2 outs, bottom of a scoreless first inning. No balls and a strike to count here to Jack Sorensen. Another check to first, and we still have yet to see a second pitch to the Hardhats first baseman. If Sorensen keeps the inning going, Jace Caldwell serving as the DH is on deck. If not, 4, 5, and 6 are due up for the Mavericks in the top of the second, starting off with the DH, Trad Richardson. 0-1 pitch, called strike on a fastball. 0-2. Sorensen in a hole, with Heydrich trying to end the inning, and Strand Bowman on first. Heydrich another check to first, not there in time. Trying to keep Bowman as tethered to first as possible. Cooper Bowman on the season, 27 stolen bases, and he's only been caught once. The 0-2 is just fouled off. That was a breaking ball that came into Sorensen, and he was just late on it. It trickled down the line to the Missoula dugout, first base side. 0-2 the count here to Sorensen. Bowman leads off at first again. Heydrich from the stretch. 0-2 to Sorensen. Pitch is fouled off again. Over catch 22 to the right of our press box. Count will hold at 0-2. Shameless plug for Catch 22. Get all your Post 22 merchandise down at Catch 22. Open for every Hard Hats home game. No balls, 2 strikes to Sorensen. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to left field. Underneath it in left to make the catch and end the inning is Sam Busey. And that will do it. Well, the Hard Hats get a hit. Nothing comes of it, though. No runs, a hit, no errors, a man stranded on first. We've played a full inning of baseball. Only took an hour and 19 minutes to play one full inning of baseball, but we got it done. And we're still scoreless between the Hard Hats and the Mavericks here in Game 1. Round robin play, the Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the top of the second here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hard Hats Baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. I'm going to give you our game reminder that our annual Dining on the Diamond Spaghetti Dinner is this Monday, or excuse me, not this upcoming Monday, the next Monday, July 9th, from 5 to 7 right here at the Fitz. Free dinner to all of our season ticket holders and sponsors. Come out for your free dinner and have your favorite Post 22 players serve you. You can't say no to a pasta dinner. Plus, the guys wear bow ties and cummerbund. I mean, come on, guys. You can't go wrong with it. First pitch of the top half of the second goes to Trad Richardson. It's hit high in the air to left. Jackson's underneath it, and he makes the catch for out number 1. How's that? 2 innings the Hard Hats have started on defense. 1 pitch, 1 out, 1 down. That's going to bring up Brendan Hill, the center fielder. Top of the second, no score between the Hard Hats and the Mavericks. Only 1 hit in the ball game. It belongs to Cooper Bowman of Post 22. Dylan Ritchie from the stretch takes on Brendan Hill, the right-handed batter, and the first pitch is swung on and missed. Off-speed pitch, it's 0-1. No balls and a strike the count here to Hill. Empty base path for him and 1 out. 0-1 pitch. Just missed outside on a fastball, and the count will even up at a ball and a strike. Ritchie quickly to work. 1-1 pitch. No, it hit him. They're saying it was a breaking ball that hit him. Just caught his jersey sleeve. And Brendan Hill becomes the first base runner of the ball game for Missoula by a hair. So a man on first with 1 out. That's going to bring up Connor Daniels, the right fielder. Daniels batting left-handed. That's the first lefty that Ritchie's had to face in this ballgame. First pitch. Swung on and fouled off the end of the bat. 0-1 to Daniels. No balls and a strike to count to Daniels. With a man on first and 1 out. Hard Hats looking for the double play to end it. 0-1 pitch. Swung on and foul tipped into the glove. Strike 2. 0-2 now to Connor Daniels. Daniels went 0 for 1 with 2 walks the first time he took on the Hard Hats over a month and a half ago. 0-2 from Ritchie. Missed at the letters. Ball and 2 strikes. Daniels with a man on first and Brendan Hill. 1 out, top of a scoreless second inning. Ritchie looking for that second K in the book. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Just missed outside again. Count evens at 2-2. Two balls and two strikes. Richie a quick look to first at Hill. 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike three. There's K number 2 for Richie in the start. 2 down with a man on first. That'll bring us to Sam Busey, the left fielder. Busey batted in the 2-hole the first time these teams met. He went 0 for 2 with a walk, and he grounded into a double play. 2 outs and a man on first for Busey here in the top of a scoreless second. First pitch is popped foul, first base side, and out of play. And caught by a fan. Nice catch out there. Crowd gives him a round of applause. No balls and a strike to count to Sam Busey. Busey, a right-handed batter against the right-handed pitching Richie. Richie from the stretch. 0-1, breaking ball, swung on, ball's hit high in the air to left center. King shades to his right, makes the catch, and that's going to end the top half of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors charged to the Hardhats, and a man left on base on first. We've played an inning and a half of baseball, and we are still deadlocked at zeros between Post 22 and the Missoula Mavericks. We'll take a step aside, and when we come back, Jace Caldwell, Holden Jackson, and Zach Sumption are slated to hit for the Hardhats here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Post 22 back on the offensive now, and a scoreless deadlock against the Missoula Mavericks. Dylan Ritchie is very efficient through his first 2 innings on the mound, 11 pitches in each frame. And to put that in perspective, Caden Heydrich, who comes back on the mound for the Mavericks, has thrown 17 in an inning less. He'll take on Jace Caldwell, the DH, Holden Jackson, the left fielder, and Zach Sumption, the right fielder, in that order. Here in the bottom half of a scoreless second. Caldwell, a right-handed batter against the right-handed Heydrich. Looks at a first pitch too far inside for ball 1. Caldwell on the season batting towards the top of the Hardhats roster, .418 on the year. He's been a juggernaut offensively in the middle. Next pitch, swung on, ball's hit high in the air, left field. And then it just dies. Busey's underneath it in front of the warning track, and he makes the catch for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down for the Hardhats on offense. That's going to bring us to Holden Jackson. Jackson swinging for a 22nd game out of what are now 38 for the Hardhats. Hardhats coming in with a 30-7 record. Jackson with a .370 average. Swings at a breaking ball. Pitches up high behind home plate. Frankie's there. Makes the catch. That'll be out number 2. Unfortunate sequence there for Jackson. Got under the first pitch he saw, and it just went straight up in the air. So now here comes Zach Sumption with an empty base path and 2 very quick outs for Caden Heydrich on the mound. Sumption batting .278 on the year. And his first pitch is way outside for ball 1. 1-0 the count here to Sumption. 27 for 97 on the year and 118 plate appearances. Struck out 27 times on the year. That leads the Hardhats compared to 14 walks. 1-0, too far inside, 2 balls, no strikes. Sumption, 20 singles on the year, pair of doubles, 5 triples. Still has yet to leave the yard. 21 ribbies, 28 runs scored. 2-0 from Heydrich. Low and inside. 3 balls, no strikes to Sumption. Pitch away from a 4-pitch pass. Give the Hardhats a base runner for both innings played so far. 0-0 score. 2 outs, bottom of the second. 3-0 from Heydrich. High and inside, ball 4. And Zach Sumption looks at a 4-pitch walk. And that comes with 2 outs. It'll bring up Ryan Schmidt, the catcher. Schmidt batting .325 on the year, a right-handed batter. 25th game in which he has swung the bat out of now 38. Schmidt is 25 for 77 on the year in 93 plate appearances. Struck out 21 times and walked a baker's dozen. Check to first, not there in time, and Sumption's back safe. So Schmidt has yet to see his first pitch of the ballgame. Heydrich from the stretch looks over to Sumption. And another check to first, and Schmidt still waiting on a pitch. A dual purpose for the pickoff move obviously keeps the batter tethered to, the runner tethered to first, but it gets the batter out of his rhythm. First pitch, too far inside, 1-0. Batter's just sitting there waiting. He gets mentally prepared, and then all of a sudden nothing comes, and then he gets prepared again, and then there's another one, and nothing comes. So it's a mind game a lot of times. We're going to have a quick conference on the mound here with Heydrich, Frankie, and the Mavericks coaching staff. Once again, fans, a reminder that Dining on the Diamond is not this upcoming Monday, but the next Monday, July 9th, from 5 to 7. It's a free dinner for all of our season ticket holders and sponsors. You will have your favorite Post 22 player serve your meal. So you get a double whammy there. It's a free pasta dinner. Actually, a triple whammy. Free pasta dinner. And the guys have to dress up in bow ties, and they have to serve everybody. You can't go wrong with it. I'm never going to say no to a pasta dinner, but that's just me. That and pizza have to be 2 of the best things ever created for food. Tacos get some honorable mention as well. Ball and no strikes to count to Schmidt. Looks like we're back to baseball. Enough with the weird food talk here. Heydrich, his next pitch is swung on, chopped down the third baseline, but foul. And the count evens up for Ryan Schmidt at a ball and a strike. Schmidt has Sumption on first with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second, and we are still deadlocked at zeros. Ball and a strike the count, and Heydrich deals to Schmidt. Breaking ball, swung on and drilled in a left, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Everybody advances only 1 base, so it'll be Sumption to scoring position at second, and it'll be Schmidt to first with a 2-out single. And that's going to bring us up to the 9-hole hitter and second baseman, Mason Messenger, who has a man in scoring position and 2 outs here in the bottom of a scoreless second inning. Messenger a chance to give the Hardhats first run of the ball game. He's batting .299 on the season. And has a glorious opportunity here to try and get the Hardhats on the board. First pitch to Messenger. Swung on. Ball's fouled over our press box. 0-1 the count. Messenger on the year's batting .267 with runners in scoring position. Schmidt on first, Sumption on second. Sumption has the wheels. A base hit would score him. 0-1 pitch. Low and away, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. 1-1 here to Messenger. Men on first and second with 2 outs, a scoreless bottom of the second. Hardhats trying to go for the first blow. 1-1. Breaking ball at the letters. 2 balls and a strike. Heydrich was on pace to potentially get out of this inning in less than 5 pitches. He has since thrown 30 total. The 2-1 is too high again. 3 balls and a strike. He came in with 17. He registered the first 2 outs on 3 pitches. So he's thrown 11 since that. One of those included a 4-pitch walk. 3 balls and a strike to Messenger. There is somewhere to put him with men on first and second. And the 3-1's a called strike. Fastball in the inside corner, and the count goes full. Payoff pitch here for Messenger. 2 outs and 2 men on. Here in the bottom of the second. Heydrich looking in for a sign. Looks like he's finally agreed on one. He'll look around the diamond. Payoff pitch is high for ball 4 on a breaking ball. And Messenger walks. Another 2-out walk, and that will load up the bases, and the top of the order is back up. Connor King will now take his second plate appearance of the ballgame. King batting .306 with runners in scoring position. Very favorable situation for him. Bases are loaded. A base hit would most definitely score at least a run, maybe 2. First pitch. Low and away, ball 1. King popped out to second on a full count, so he's 0 for 1. And now another conference as Frankie heads to the mound to talk to Heydrich. King has Mason Messenger on first, Ryan Schmidt on second, Zach Sumption the most immediate threat on the base path on third. With 2 outs in the bottom of a scoreless second inning. Hardhats really need to capitalize here. Ball and no strikes the count. Heydrich looks around the base path. He'll come from the stretch. 1-0 to King. Called strike. Fastball on the inside corner at his knees. It's 1-1. Ball and a strike to King. There is nowhere to put him, so if he is walked, Hardhats will strike first. 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Breaking ball that started in the zone, sunk down. 1-2. Heydrich a strike away from getting out of a colossal jam early. This will be his 20th pitch of the inning. And time is called before he can throw it. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count to Connor King. Messenger on first, Schmidt on second, Sumption on third. Heydrich taking his time. Now he's set. 1-2 to King. Caught him looking, strike 3, and that's going to end the threat. Heydrich's first strikeout of the game, and boy, did that come at a clutch moment. No runs on a hit with no errors, and the bases left loaded. We played 2 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats and the Mavericks are in a scoreless deadlock. We'll take a step aside, folks, and come right back with the top of the 3rd inning. 8, 9, and 1 slated to hit for the Mavericks, starting off with Braden Jacobson. We'll be right back here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. For those Rush fans tuning into tonight's broadcast, don't forget that season tickets are on sale now for our 11th season of hockey in the Black Hills. 716-7825 to get your tickets, and stay tuned on all Rapid City Rush social media platforms and the team website to gain some insight and some news into the organization. Some big news breaking today on 2 fronts. The Rush ended their affiliation with the Minnesota Wild today and are going to evaluate other options. Whether that means affiliate with a team that's still looking for an affiliate or go independent for the year, those options are being evaluated at this time. And the other news that broke was my podcast with head coach Daniel Tatro debuted today. It is called What's the Rush? And it'll air on a semi-weekly basis. We had our first episode today. It aired with the first player returning to the Rush roster, and Garrett Klotz. The next episode, I'm planning on airing it next Friday as well, so we'll go 2 Fridays in a row. After that, based on Coach's travel schedule coming back from vacation in Winnipeg and my travel schedule with the Hardhats and the Gopher, we'll try and get that 3rd episode in either next week or shortly after that. Top of the 3rd inning here at the Fitz. Braden Jacobson leads off and looks at a first pitch high and inside. 1-0. Jacobson, Frankie, and back to the top of the order to James Martin for the Mavericks. Here in the top of a scoreless 3rd inning. No runs, hits, or errors for the Mavericks. No runs, a pair of hits. No errors for the Hardhats. 1-0 pitch. Missed low, a fastball, and it's 2-0. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. As always, stream live on the internet on Hardhats-TV. Some pretty ominous backdrop here just due to all the weather. 2-0 is fouled to the backstop behind home plate, 2-1. It's red skies, but then there's some charcoal-ish shade thrown in there. Ton of clouds. We had rain, then we had lightning, then we didn't, then we had lightning, so the weather's still trying to make its mind up. 2-1 pitch. Misses low, and that'll be 3 balls and a strike to Jacobson. It looks like something you'd see out of a movie in a climactic moment almost. It's actually pretty neat. That's easy to say from a comfortable press box, but nonetheless. 3 balls and a strike to count here to Jacobson. And Richie deals. Low for ball 4. And so Richie issues his first walk of the start. And it's a leadoff walk to Jacobson. That'll bring up Clayton Frankie, the catcher. Top of the 3rd inning, we're still scoreless. Mavericks still looking for their first hit. They've had 2 base runners in this ball game. Both of them free passes, hit by pitch to Hill, and now the walk to lead off the 3rd inning to Jacobson. First pitch, Frankie shows bunt, pulls back, but it's a called strike. 0-1 the count. Missoula trying to go to small ball here, which I don't blame them. You look at the situation you're in right now, it's an early game. Both teams have, the Hardhats more so than the Mavericks have had a chance to strike. Nothing's happened, and you're still scoreless, so why not go to small ball? Advance a runner, 1 out with 2 chances to get him home. Bachman's in on the grass, parallel to the mound to try and field the bunt. Frankie missed on the attempt. No, he fouled it. He just fouled it. That must have barely hit the bat because I didn't hear a tink or anything. That must have barely grazed it. Burt Reddy obviously behind home plate. He has the best perspective out of anyone here. Let's see if that went off of his bunt attempt foul. No balls and 2 strikes to count. Richie from the stretch. 0-2 pitch. He tries the bunt. He drops it. Schmidt fields it in front of home plate. Throw to first in time for out number 1. That was a very interesting play from Frankie with 2 strikes. He fouls off another attempt and he's out. Very gutsy move, but he pulled it off. So Jacobson advanced to scoring position now. That'll bring up James Martin, the second baseman. Back to the top of the order we go for the Mavericks. James Martin's 0 for 1. He flew out on the very first pitch he saw in the ballgame. Flew out to Connor King in center field. Richie about to throw his 30th pitch, and he steps off the rubber before he does. Jacobson's on second with 1 out here in the top of the 3rd. We're still scoreless. First runner in scoring position for Missoula in the game. First pitch. Called strike. Fastball inside. It's 0-1. No balls and a strike to count here to Martin. Jacobson leads off a second. Only man on the base path. Richie gives him a look. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, check swing, and he didn't go. That one was upstairs, a ball and a strike. 1-1 the count now to Martin. And Jacobson again leading off a second. Richie deals a 1-1. Breaking ball, called strike. Right at the belt of Martin. Ball and 2 strikes. Richie looking for a huge punch out at the plate here. And here's a 1-2. Just missed. And are they saying he went? No. He did check his swing. Awfully close on multiple counts, just below the strike zone. And they thought Martin went. Second life for him, 2-2. Richie looks to Jacobson at second. 2-2 pitch. Just missed inside, and the count goes full. First full count pitch for Richie in the start. We're in the top of the 3rd, scoreless, with an out. Missoula threatening with Jacobson in scoring position, their first runner on second or third tonight. Payoff pitch from Ritchie. Swung on and the ball's pushed high in the air, right field side, but it's going to land foul. Just inside the Missoula bullpen. And the count will hold full. Second payoff pitch coming up. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ritchie from the stretch. Here's the payoff. Upstairs, ball 4. That's his second walk issued in both the start and the ball game. And the inning. That's going to bring up the shortstop, Brendan Buchanan, with 1 out and men on first and second. Buchanan's 0 for 1, grounded out to third to start off the ball game. Hardhats looking to turn 2 and get out of it. First pitch. Fastball outside. It's 1-0. Buchanan has Jacobson still standing on second, but now Martin has joined the fray on first. He has also drawn a walk, so 2 walks in the game and the inning for Ritchie. Ritchie double takes to second. Here's the 1-0. Called strike, a fastball just at the knees inside. It's 1-1. Brendan Buchanan, the batter. Righty on righty matchup. Only one lefty we've seen so far in this lineup for Mavericks. Ritchie steps off the rubber. He'll contemplate this next pitch. Ball and a strike the count. Jacobson leads off a second. Martin leads off a first. Check to first is not in time. Jack Sorensen almost got him. A nice move by Ritchie. Sorensen wasn't initially covering the bag, and then he shifted over and had a great attempt to try and get Martin caught asleep at the switch. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball just fouled off. And Buchanan's count now goes to a ball and 2 strikes. One and 2. Both runners lead. 1-2 pitch. Caught him looking. Strike 3. What a breaking ball from Dylan Ritchie. His 3rd strikeout of the start. 2 down, 2 men on, and that'll bring us to Dane Frazier, the first baseman. Frazier was the first of 3 strikeouts now issued by Ritchie. Force at any bag, that was a crucial second out. Now it's a force at any bag, and out at the plate, fly ball, you can get you out of it. First pitch, and it's low, and it goes through the legs of Schmidt, and everybody's going to advance a base. A tough break there for Schmidt, the pass ball advancing Martin to second and Jacobson to third, so now it's 2 men in scoring position to worry about. A 1-0 count to Frazier. Now the pressure just amped up a little bit. Options to end the inning dwindled down. Ball and no strikes to count. And Ritchie deals to Frazier. Swung on and fouled. Over the grandstand and into Rapid Creek. The count will even up at 1-1. Ball and a strike the count to Frazier. 2 men in scoring position for the Mavericks. Scoreless, top of the 3rd. Next pitch is a breaking ball inside that missed low. 2-1. That was a beautiful pitch, though, from Ritchie. He's had a lot of guys on that inside swing and miss a few times. 2 balls and a strike his count to Frazier. And he deals. Swung on, ball's hit to short. Bowman gets the stop on the run. Throw it at first on the run in time, and that'll do it. The Hardhats get out of the jam, and it looks like we have deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra once famously said. It is a duel right now, scoreless between the Mavericks and the Hardhats. In the top of the 3rd, Missoula went no runs, no hits, no errors charged to the Hardhats. 2 men left on the base path in scoring position. 2.5 innings in the books, deadlocked at 0s. Hardhats have Bachman, Bowman, and Sorensen scheduled to hit in the bottom of the third here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Only 2 hits in the ballgame. Not a single run scored between the Mavericks and the Hardhats. Both hits belong to post 22. Numbers across the board through 2.5. Mavericks, 3 zeros. No runs, hits, or errors. Hardhats, no runs, a pair of hits. No errors in the field. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM and 1340 AM. Post 22 back to the offensive here in the bottom of the third. Ryan Bachman, Cooper Bowman, Jack Sorensen slated to hit. Bachman 0 for 1 in this matchup. First pitch from Heydrich. Missed low. Breaking ball, it's 1-0. Bachman took a 1-2 pitch and tried going opposite field with it, but Martin made the stop at second to get the out. He went down 4-3. Ball and no strikes his count. And Heydrich delivers. Called strike on a fastball inside corner. It's 1-1. Ball and a strike now the count to Ryan Bachman in at third base for this game. 1-1 pitch. Swung on, ball is hit to short. Stop is made on the play by Buchanan, and his throw to first is off track and not there. Trying to get the tag was Frazier. He was pulled off the bag, and Bachman's safe. And that is an E6 on the throw. So Bachman is still 0 for 2, but it's a leadoff error to put a man on the base path, and that's going to bring up Cooper Bowman, who has one of the only 2 hits in this ball game between both teams. And again, both of them belong to the Hardhats. Bowman singled with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Jack Sorensen, though, retired right after him with a fly out to left. Check to first, Bachman's back, and he didn't really have much of a lead there, so it was easy for him to get back. Bachman, the leadoff man, on by virtue of the error. Heydrich takes a quick peek at him and now comes to the set position from the stretch. First pitch to Bowman. Too far inside, ball and no strikes. Want to know the count? Bowman steps back into the right-handed batter's box. Righty on righty matchup here. Check to first again. Bachman's back. That lead a tad bit more sizable than the last pickoff attempt. He might stay closer to first. And there he is again, safe once more. Trying to keep him as close to first as possible. I think this has to be the most pickoff attempts we've seen probably in a single game against the Hardhats. Here's the 1-0. And that misses low and away on a breaking ball. 2-0 now to Bowman. Bachman on first. No one out here in the bottom of the third. We're still in a scoreless deadlock. Just had our first error of the ball game that allowed Bachman to reach first safely. 2 balls, no strikes. And the next pitch to Bowman, a called strike on a breaking ball at his knees. 2-1. And now another mound visit. Frankie to Heydrich on the mound. Just pitcher to catcher, though. They've had a couple of conferences already. Only one of them has involved the coach. 2 balls and a strike to count. Heydrich looks to Bachman at first, and the 2-1 is upstairs. Off-speed pitch, it's 3-1. Looks like Heydrich went with a bit of a change-up there. 3 balls and a strike to count. And here's the 3-1. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to left. Busey's underneath it. Shades to his left, and then coming in from center to make the catch was Brendan Hill. Hill called him off at the last second. Literally came from center to left field. That could have been a very dangerous play for the Mavericks. But an out's an out, and Bachman stays put at first. One down with a man on first brings up Jack Sorensen. Double play in effect to end the inning, and now there's an official mound visit with a coach to come out and talk to Caden Heydrich. Heydrich working on 45 pitches. This is the third inning in which he's pitched. He came in the inning with 37 pitches, so he's already thrown 8. And has a walk and a man on first to worry about. Heydrich has only struck out 1 in this matchup. He's walked 2 and allowed 2 hits. Jack Sorensen is 0 for 1. He flew out to left to end the bottom half of the first. Heydrich a quick look to first to make sure Bachman's still there. And now he is set. First pitch to Sorensen. Pitch is swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to right field. That ball has some legs underneath it. And coming to make the catch on the play is Daniels. There was a mishap on the base path. Bachman thought there were 2 outs, and he kept running. So the catch was made. They doubled him up. An F9-3 double play, and that'll end the bottom half of the third. Tad bit anticlimactic there. No runs, no hits, an error charge to the Mavericks, and no one left on the base path. We played 3 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats and Mavericks are still deadlocked at zeros through 1/3 of regulation. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the top of the 4th and the heart of the Missoula order slated to hit here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. That bottom half of the third inning is exactly what Caden Heydrich needed. 17 pitches thrown in the first, 20th in the second, 9 in the third. Practically on par now with Dylan Ritchie, who comes onto the mound once again for the Hardhats with 44 pitches under his belt. He had a tad bit of trouble in that third, throwing 22. His first pitch of the inning to Trad Richardson leading off is low for ball 1. It'll be Richardson, the DH, Hill, the center fielder, and Daniels, the right fielder, the only lefty in the lineup for the Mavericks. Top of the 4th, still scoreless. Game 1 of the Firecracker tournament, pool play, as Ritchie throws a called strike on the outside corner, breaking ball, 1-1. Mavericks have no runs, no hits, and 1 error on defense, and the Hardhats have no runs, a pair of hits, and no errors. Next pitch from Ritchie misses low. It's 2 balls and a strike now to Richardson, who is 0 for 1. He flew out to left field on the first pitch he saw to start off the top half of the second. 2-1 pitch rides upstairs for ball 3, so it's 3-1 now from Ritchie to Richardson. Tad bit of a hilarious coincidence there. 3 balls and a strike. And Ritchie delivers a 3-1, and that's low and away for ball 4. Ritchie's 3rd walk of the ball game, and his 4th free pass of the game. 3 walks and a hit by pitch. 2nd leadoff walk of the game as well, and that's going to bring up Brendan Hill, the center fielder. I'd have to imagine small ball will be showcased again, considering it's a 0-0 game, and both teams now at this point have had a 1 chance with runners in scoring position to try and capitalize. 50th pitch of the start. Bachman off of third to field the bunt, and the first pitch missed low and away for ball one. And Hill did not offer. It looked like he did. Bowman talking with Richie real quick. Minor conference. Again, Bachman parallel with the mound. He is on the grass, ready to field this bunt. 1 ball, no strikes the count here to Hill. Probably going to show bunt again. He does, and he drops it foul. And the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Ryan Schmidt looked at that one, not even 2 feet away from the plate. Watched it roll into foul territory. Ball and a strike now to Hill. Hill was the gentleman that was hit by a pitch that was back in the top of the second. Came with an out. But it didn't go against the Hardhats. So 4 free passes so far, and it hasn't caused any damage yet against post 22. Ball and a strike the count to Hill. Probably going to show bunt again. He does. And the pitch this time is dropped right back to the mound. Richie looks to second. Instead, will go to first for the easy out. And so that'll be a 1-3 sacrifice. Credited to Hill. Trad Richardson will advance to scoring position. He's on second. That'll bring up Connor Daniels, the left-handed hitting right fielder. The infield shifts just a little bit over with him being left-handed. First pitch. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air. Foul territory, third base side. Bachman is on his horse in foul territory, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Great catch by Bachman. And a big second out. That's going to bring up Sam Busey, the left fielder, who is 0 for 1 with a fly out to center. Big second out with that man on second as well. No real chance to move him over now. Now Richie looks into Busey. First pitch. Swung on and fouled. All the way to the mesh behind home plate. 0-1 the count. If Busey's retired, Caldwell, Jackson, and Sumption are slated to hit in that order for the Hardhats in the bottom half of this 4th inning. We are still deadlocked at 0. There's the 0-1 pitch. Just missed outside on a fastball, and it's 1-1. Ball and a strike here to Busey. Richie working on his 56th pitch of the start here in the top of the 4th. Still scoreless. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball is up high at the letters, 2-1. 2-1 now from Richie to Busey. Richie trying to get out of the inning. Unscathed. He does have a man in scoring position to worry about. 2 outs, though. Here in the top of a scoreless 4th. Here's a 2-1. That's upstairs, ball 3. Fastball. 3-1 now the count from Richie to Busey. Dylan Ritchie's a pitch away from issuing what would be his 4th walk. And it would be his 5th free pass allowed in the game because he did hit a batter earlier. So he's trying to avoid that one on this next pitch here, 3-1. Richardson takes his lead off a second. 3-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. And the count goes full now to Busey. Richie does have 3 strikeouts, though. He's looking for that 4th one. It'd be one heck of a punch-out to strand another runner in scoring position for the Mavericks. Payoff to Busey. Check swing, did he go? There's not saying he did. That's ball 4. So a 2-out walk issued to Sam Busey. That puts men on first and second, so at least there's a force at each bag to try and end the inning. And now the pitching coordinator of the Hardhats, Ryan Clapperich, will come out and have a quick word with his young righty. Richie on the game so far, his next pitch will be number 60 of the start. He started off very efficient the first 2 innings. He threw 11 pitches in both the first and second innings. So 22 through the first 2 innings, but then he threw 22 in the third. So he came into this inning with 44 pitches. He's already at 15 in this frame. Richie twice in the ballgame in back-to-back innings has issued 2 walks. So here comes Braden Jacobson, the third baseman. He was one of the 4 walks that Richie issued. Richie looks around the diamond to first and second, and the first pitch is low. Schmidt gets the block. 1-0 the count here to Jacobson. Jacobson has Busey on first and Richardson on second, with 2 outs here in the top of a scoreless 4th inning. 1-0 pitch. Fastball called strike on the outside corner. It's 1-1. Ball and a strike the count. And here comes the 1-1. Pitch is swung on and missed. He had Jacobson coming out of his boots swinging that one. Ball and 2 strikes. Richie gets strike 3 here. It's his 4th K. And once again, strands men on the bases for the Mavericks. Here's the 1-2. Swung on, and the ball is weakly hit to third. Bachman gets the stop on the shuffle. Throw to first is low, but scooped by Sorensen in time. And that will end the threat. No hits, no runs, no hits, no errors charged to the Hardhats. 2 men left on the base path, 1 in scoring position. We have played 3.5 innings of baseball and still don't have a run to talk about between the Missoula Mavericks and your Post 22 Hardhats. We'll take a step aside. Jace Caldwell will lead us off on the bottom of the 4th. You're listening to Post 22 Hardhats Baseball here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. All set now for the bottom half of the 4th inning here between the Missoula Mavericks and the Post 22 Hardhats in their first games of round-robin play for the 43rd annual Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World. Earlier today, Rocky Mountain took on Merced, California, and Rocky Mountain came out with a narrow 7-6 win. And then shortly after that, despite a ton of weather delays, Terre Haute, Indiana defeated the Premier West Cardinals out of Denver with a 9-6 victory. So Rocky Mountain and Terre Haute, both the undefeated teams at 1-0. Merced, California, Premier West are 0-1. And the Hardhats and the Mavericks still looking to conclude their first game. Thankfully, the weather's held off after we started the game. We tried to start at about 7:45, and then the lightning kept striking. So they had to delay an extra 15 minutes, and the 15 minutes was worth the wait. Haven't had any problems yet. Jace Caldwell, Holden Jackson, Zach Sumption slated to hit for the Hardhats, who are still in a scoreless deadlock here against the Mavericks. Heading now into the bottom of the 4th. Post 22 has the only hits of the ball game, 2 of them. Nothing from Missoula, and they have the only error as well. First pitch to Caldwell, misses low and away on a breaking ball. 1-0 the count to Caldwell, who was 0 for 1 on the ball game with a fly out to left. Just got really under the ball. If he had even the swing out a little more, it's probably out of the park. Here's the 1-0. Too far inside. 2 balls, no strikes now to Caldwell. Caldwell on the season batting .418. Next pitch is lined into left field. That ball has some distance on it. It goes off the wall. Busey fields it on the warning track. Caldwell's on his horse. Rounds first, goes to second, and he's not in time. And they throw him out at second. He tried to stretch it into a double, and the saving grace there for the Mavericks was the fact that that ball had some super active hop off the wall. If it doesn't bounce that actively, I'm guaranteeing Jace is safe at second, but unfortunate, so he'll get the single, but trying to stretch it into the double, he's thrown out. And now another conference on the mound with Mavericks coaching as Holden Jackson comes up with the base path empty. And 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Caldwell created a ton of noise with that hit. But again, it took such an active bounce. The way that Busey was trailing the ball, he played the hop perfectly, and that took such an active bounce off the wall that I'm convinced if Busey doesn't play it the way he did, or the ball's deadened a little bit off the wall, that Caldwell's standing on second right now with a leadoff double. But you got to credit Busey. That was a great defensive play. He got it into the cutoff in Buchanan, and Buchanan got a great throw to Martin at second. And now the conference is over. That'll bring up Holden Jackson, who's 0 for 1. Popped out on his only pitch to the catcher behind home plate. That was back in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Empty base path and 1 out here in the bottom of a scoreless 4th inning. There's the pitch. Fastball, called strike at his belt. Over the heart of the plate, 0-1 to Jackson. Jackson doesn't bat much, but when he does, he's hit. .370 on the season, and now 22 games swinging the bat out of 38. No balls and a strike. And the pitch. Skips low, and the count evens up at 1-1. Caden Heydrich still on the mound here for the Mavericks. Just surpassed 51 pitches. Heydrich had a really efficient 3rd inning. That helped him out. Threw 17 in the 1st, 20 in the 2nd, 9 in the 3rd. 1-1 pitch, skips low again. And skips away from Frankie behind home plate. That'll be 2-1 now to Jackson. Dylan Ritchie, on the other hand, went 11, 11, 22, and 19. So he's at 63 through 4 innings. 2 balls and a strike the count. And Heydrich deals. Upstairs, 3-1. Jackson on the year's only struck out once, and he's walked 5 times. He's a pitch away from a 6th base on ball is issued to him on the season. 3-1. Heydrich from the stretch. Sets and deals. Pitch is fouled off just behind home plate. And the count will go full now at 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes. 3rd full count for Heydrich to throw. And he deals the payoff pitch, and it's low and away for ball 4. So Holden Jackson earns a 1-out walk. And that's going to bring up Zach Sumption, the right fielder, who has also walked in this ballgame. So Sumption looking for his first official at-bat. Jackson on first with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Still scoreless. Mavericks and the Hardhats in game 1 for each team. Pool play of the Firecracker Tournament, the 43rd running of this tournament, presented by Camping World. And another conference between Frankie and Heydrich. There have been so many meetings on the mound tonight, whether it's with coaching staff, whether it's catcher to pitcher. It's ridiculous to see how much that's really thrown the flow of this game off. It seems almost every 2 batters, 3 pitches at a time. It's meeting after meeting between these guys. Jackson takes his lead off at first. He comes right back, and he's safe. Check down wasn't there in time. Heydrich went for the pickoff not even seconds after Jackson left the bag. Jackson leads. Heydrich from the stretch. First pitch to Sumption. Called strike. Fastball at his belt. Over the heart of the plate, it's 0-1. Sumption looking for his first hit of the ballgame. He's only walked. Next pitch is swung on and missed. 0-2. That was a low pitch. Started in the zone, broke down. It started really towards the bottom of the zone and broke even lower. Sumption swung and missed. 0-2 now his count with Jackson on first. Here's the 0-2 to Sumption. Pitch is swung on and fouled off. And it goes over the grandstand and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes to count here to Sumption. Heydrich looks to first. We'll get back to the set position. 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball, swung on, lined into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Jackson's going to hold up at second, and Sumption will take first with his first hit of the ball game. Jackson now in scoring position. It's men on first and second with 1 out. That'll bring us to Ryan Schmidt, the catcher, who is also 1 for 1. Just the 3rd hit of the ball game between both of these teams, and all of them belong to the Hardhats. Cooper Bowman has 1. Schmidt has 1, and he's up. Sumption just got 1. He's on first. Heydrich approaching his 60th pitch of the start. Double play gets him out of the jam. First pitch. Swung on. That ball's lined into left center field. That's going to drop for a base hit. He's got the green light. Rounding third. Heading home is Holden Jackson. Sumption to third. And the throw gets to the cutoff, and that's all they'll get. It's a 1-out RBI single for Ryan Schmidt, and we finally have a run in the ballgame. The Hardhats have a 1-0 lead with men on the corners and 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Jackson knew he was scoring the second that ball was hit. He got on his horse. Coach Torvey gave him the green light. And that was all she wrote. And now Mason Messenger comes up with men on the corners and 1 out. Hardhats strike first. Finally, we have a run. 1-0. They have the lead here in the bottom of the 4th. He shows bunt. Drops it down the third baseline, but it's foul. 0-1 the count. And on the play, Sumption was running from third. By the time the ball was finally fouled, Sumption was practically at home to score. Very interesting move there, but you know what? Had that bunt landed fair, that's a 2-0 lead for the Hardhats. Sumption leads off at third. Third base off the bag to try and field the bunt, and back safely at first on a check down is Ryan Schmidt. Still no balls and a strike to Mason Messenger. Third base trying to be wary of that bunt. There's another check down, not in time. Hardhats now up 1-0. They got the run on their 4th hit of the ball game thanks to Ryan Schmidt. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Messenger looking to swing away. At least he didn't show bunt. And the next pitch is low and away and evens the count up at a ball and a strike. Quite a long ball game. We're already at 1 hour and 10 minutes, 1 hour and 11 minutes now. We're in the bottom half of the 4th. We still have 5 of these things to go. 1-1 pitch. Swung on. Ball is hit to short. Stop is off of Buchanan. It bounces off of Buchanan, and a run's going to come in and scores. He stopped it, but he couldn't corral it. That's another error on the shortstop position, and the Hardhats get another run to come in, and it's 2-0 with men on first and second and 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Now Connor King comes up as we hit back to the top of the order for the Hardhats. Brendan Buchanan, made the stop at short, but the ball ricocheted right off of him, so he made a stop, but could make a play off of it. Mishandled the ball. King, the only lefty back at the top of the Hard Hats order, looks at his first pitch. That's a called strike, a fastball outside corner. 0-1. King's 0 for 2 on the ball game. Popped out to second to open up the offensive entries for the Hard Hats, and he struck out looking with the bases loaded to end the bottom of the second. Still a scoreless game then. No longer a scoreless game as the Hard Hats have a 2-0 lead here. Next pitch is swung on and missed on a breaking ball down low. 0-2. Heydrich could really use that second strikeout of this start. He needs an out at the plate here to ease some of the pressure. Hard Hats have a 2-0 lead and still rolling here with 1 out. 0-2 to King. Swung on, ball's hit to the right side of the infield and off the glove of the first baseman. It trickles into right field. Rounding third, heading home on the play is Schmidt. He's going to score, and into third is Messenger. And the Hard Hats now have a 3-0 lead with men on the corners and 1 out. And they're going to rule that an RBI infield hit for Connor King. Schmidt scores from second. Messenger goes over to third. And it's men on the corners once again. And Ryan Bachman now comes up with a chance to really blow it open. 3-0 the Hard Hats lead. 3 runs in this inning on 4 hits and an error. I'm sorry, 3 hits and an error. First pitch to Bachman is inside for ball 1. I read one of my BBs as a 1B. Clearly my handwriting's not good enough. 3 runs, 3 hits, and an error for the Hard Hats in this inning to take their 3-0 lead. 1-0 the count to Bachman, men 90 feet to his left and right. And the 1-0 pitch is a called strike at his knees. It's 1-1. Bachman's 0 for 2. He grounded out to second in the first inning, and he reached on an error in the third, but did not move anywhere past first base. Actually, he had a base running gaff that resulted in an inning-ending double play. Time is called for Bachman as he resituates himself in the batter's box. There was 1 out. Sorensen hit a fly ball to right. Bachman thought there were 2 outs, and he just got on his horse and ran, but by the time he realized his mistake, he had to turn back at second base and was doubled up. Next pitch, a breaking ball inside, and that's a called strike on the corner. 1-2 now to Bachman. Heydrich still looking for that second strikeout on his, what will be his 70th pitch of this start. Heydrich looks to the men on the corners. 1-2 to Bachman. Runner goes, pitch is low, and the throw to second is not there in time, and it's off the glove. Everybody's going to take another base. Messenger comes in to score, and to third with an awkward slide was Connor King, but he's all right. And the Hard Hats lead is now 4-0 with a man on third and still 1 out. I don't know where that slide came from for Connor, but he's catching a lot of grief from the dugout right now, and rightfully so. That was, if you could equate a belly flop to a slide, that was it. That's the only way I can describe what just happened over there. Everybody on Hardhats-TV knows exactly what they saw. But for those that need the picture painted on ESPN Rapid City, it's like the equivalent of a belly flop. 2-2 to Bachman's high and away, and the count goes full. That was something else. You think we could send that to Sports Center, not Top 10? They still do that on Friday nights? That's the funny sport sometimes. Payoff pitch to Bachman. Swung on, ball's hit to short, and by a diving Buchanan. And in the left for a base hit. King's going to come in and score. No awkward slide needed there. And with 1 out, it's an RBI single for Bachman. The Hard Hats are rolling. It's a 5-0 lead with a man on first and 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Hard Hats are just rolling now. Started with a leadoff hit from Jace Caldwell that thinking if he could have stretched that into a double or he stayed on first, the inning's completely different. But since then, the Hard Hats have rode so much momentum. And now Cooper Bowman comes up with a man on first and 1 out. Check to first, not there in time, so we still have to wait on his first pitch. After Caldwell's single And he tried to stretch into the double and missed on. There's been a walk, 4 hits, and an error. And it's knocked in 5 runs. First pitch to Bowman. Too far inside, 1-0. Bowman's 1 for 2. A single and a fly out to left. Heydrich's pitch count is up there now. He's 3 pitches away from 30 in the inning. Here's his 1-0. Pitch is inside, called strike. 1-1. Ball and a strike to count to Bowman. Bachman on first with the ribby single. Here in the bottom of the 4th, the Hardhats with a 5-0 lead. 1-1 pitch. Pitch is swung on, ball's hit to short. Buchanan on the run to second for 1, to first for 2, and he got it. And the double play finally ends the bleeding for the Mavericks. 6-4-3 double play, but the Hardhats have dealt some serious damage in what has prior been a very close, highly contested game. 5 runs on 4 hits with an error charged. With 2 errors charged in the inning, and no one left on. We have played 4 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats now have a commanding 5-0 lead over the Missoula Mavericks in their first game of pool play of the Firecracker Tournament. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the top of the 5th here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. Dylan Ritchie's back on the mound to take his spot on the 5th inning here against the Missoula Mavericks. He'll take on 9-1-2 in the order with his team up a commanding 5-0. First pitch. High in the air to second. Messenger comes back into shallow right to make the catch. Route number 1. That's 3 out of 5 innings now where the Hardhats have registered their first out of the inning on the very first pitch that Dylan Ritchie's thrown. It's incredible to see how efficient he's been in the early stages of this game in his start. Back to the top of the order now. It's James Martin. Martin 0 for 1, looks at a first pitch called strike on the outside corner, right at his knees. 0-1 to Martin. He flew out to center field on the very first pitch of the ball game, and then he walked in the 3rd. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball called strike. 0-2. Now to Martin. No runs, no hits, 3 errors for the Mavericks. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Hardhats. Quick pitch from Ritchie, and that one's at the letters. 1-2. It was a fastball. Ball and 2 strikes here to Martin. Empty base path and 1 out here in the top of the 5th. 1-2 pitch, a breaking ball high and inside, 2-2. Brendan Buchanan's on deck. He's had 2 errors in this game defensively. And he's 0 for 2. 2-2 pitch. High and inside, and the count goes full. Interesting delivery there from Ritchie. He kind of delayed his kick. Kind of threw the rhythm off. Here comes the payoff pitch. High and away, ball 4. So Martin battled back, and he draws a 1-out walk. So Buchanan now comes up. Hardhats are looking to turn their first double play of the ball game. Buchanan is 0 for 2. The ground out and a backwards K. He is the most recent strikeout that Richie has dealt of the 3 in which he's dealt. And it looks like he's actually been substituted. Bo King comes in now to take over for Buchanan. Be interested to see where he comes. King looked at a first pitch ball outside, and now here comes his 1-0. Check swing, and he went. 1-1. Nice breaking ball there from Richie. Ball and a strike the count here to King. Mavericks trying to just get something started here, taking over for Buchanan. Again, Buchanan 0 for 2 with 2 errors in the field. There's a 1-1. Pitch is inside, 2-1. King has a man on first with 1 out. Top of the 5th, the Hardhats looking to keep it a 5-0 lead. Here's a 2-1. Pitch is swung on and fouled. Off the light stanchion, takes a bounce in the crowd. 2-2. Two balls and 2 strikes. Richie looks to first. Set from the stretch. Deals the deuces. And that's upstairs, and the count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes now to King. Bo King coming in for Brendan Buchanan to pinch hit. Would not be surprised to see him play at the shortstop position as well, unless there's some shuffling in the infield. Payoff pitch, swung on, ball's hit high in the air. That comes behind home plate and into the crowd, takes a high bounce. Count will remain full. Richie about to throw his Ray Bork 77th pitch. Payoff pitch number 2 to King, and Richie deals. Swung on and missed, strike 3. There's K number 4 for Dylan Richie, and a big second out with a man on first here in the top of the 5th. Brings us to Dane Frazier, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out to short. His ground out to short came with 2 men in scoring position back in the top of the 3rd. That's when the game was still scoreless. So a missed opportunity there for Frazier. First pitch is high and inside on a fastball. It's 1-0. If Frazier's retired, the Hardhats will go to Sorensen, Caldwell, and Jackson in that order in the bottom half of this inning. Richie looks to first. Taking his lead's Martin. 1-0 pitch is fought off foul. And that goes off the cover of the grandstand. Ball and a strike. Next pitch from Richie will be number 80. Don't know how much longer he'll go with this being a 9-inning game. Ball and a strike the count and the pitch. Swung on and fouled off again. He jammed him inside, he did to Frazier. 1-2 now the count. Richie looking for strikeout number 5. It would end the top half of the 5th. He is set, looks to first. 1-2 pitch. Swung on and it's fouled off again. Lather, rinse, repeat, a ball and 2 strikes. Martin leads off at first. And here's the 1-2. Misses low. Schmidt throw to first is off the glove of Sorensen. Messenger, though, is there to cover. And staying at first is Martin. 2-2 now the count. To Dane Frazier. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Richie looking for that 5th strikeout to end this top half of the 5th. Here's the 2-2. Breaking ball's up high, and Schmidt's throw to second is in time. And that will end the top half of the 5th. Frazier's at bat interrupted because Martin was caught stealing to second. So Frazier will lead off the top half of the sixth. In the meantime, Dylan Ritchie has a no-hitter going through 5 innings in this game. No runs, no hits, no errors, and now nobody left on the base path. We've played 4.5 innings, exactly half the ball game. Post 22 has a 5-0 lead, and there is a pitching change as well. We'll take a step aside and let you know all about it when we come back here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. We're trying to get some defensive changes underway here for the Missoula Mavericks. Connor Daniels has now moved in from right field to pitch. Daniels, a left-handed pitcher, takes over for Caden Heydrich. Heydrich went 4 innings. He allowed 7 hits, 5 runs. Of the 5 runs, all of them were earned. Heydrich only struck out 1 in the start. And walked 3. And he did it all on 75 pitches. So Daniels, the right fielder, comes in. The left-handed pitcher. And first pitch to Sorensen is ripped into left for a base hit. Sorensen leads off the bottom half of the 5th. Let's see, so we have Heydrich has moved to third, so he's going to stay in the ball game. Jacobson has moved to right, and Bo King will take over in center. Quite the game of musical chairs. Good grief. So now here comes Jace Caldwell. And his first pitch is a called strike from Daniels. It's 0-1. And check to first is not there. Hill also moved from center field to shortstop. Bo King, again, taking center field. And Braden Jacobson moving from third to right field. Next pitch to Caldwell, a ball. It's a ball and a strike now. 1-1 the count to the Hardhats DH with a man on first, and the next pitch is low, but making the block on the play is Frankie. So Sorensen stays put on first. 2-1. Caldwell is 1 for 2. His only hit, he tried to stretch from a single into a double, but he was thrown out at second. Busey played the bounce off of the left field wall very well. 2-1 pitch is low and away. 3-1 now to Caldwell. But he does get credit for that single, though, so that's good. Gets that average up a little bit. It's no slouch either. It's at 418 coming into the game, so good game for him. Sorensen goes. Pitches outside. It's ball 4 anyway. So Caldwell takes a walk. Men on first and second now for the Hardhats. That's going to bring up Holden Jackson. Jackson is 0 for 1 with a pop out behind home plate to the catcher and a walk. Jackson came in to score in that monstrous bottom half of the 4th in which the Hardhats plated their 5 runs. 0-0 ball game up till the bottom of the 4th. That's when the Hardhats blew it open. First pitch to Jackson. Swung on, ball's hit right back up the middle and into center for a base hit. Sorensen is on his horse. He's rounding third. He's going to head home. And a throw won't come in. An RBI single for Holden Jackson, his first hit of the ballgame tonight, and the Hardhats now have a 6-0 lead over the Mavericks with men on first and second and no one out here in the bottom of the fifth. Zach Sumption comes up 1 for 1 with a walk and a single. Also has a run scored under his belt. Post 22 now up 6-0 here in the bottom of the fifth. Daniels looks to second. And the first pitch swung on and fouled by Sumption. It's into the grandstand. 0-1 the count. Sumption singled the last time he was up. Again, that was back at the bottom of the fifth. 8 out of 9 Hardhats came around to hit, or to at least attempt to hit. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball high and away. Ball and a strike. Jace Caldwell's on second in scoring position, the most immediate threat. Jackson on first. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Daniels looks to second. One more take. Here's the 1-1 assumption. Breaking ball way outside. 2-1. Daniels had no command of that ball. It just kind of left his hand. 2-1. And the pitch. Swung on, fouled to the meshing behind home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Zach Sumption. Looking to keep this train rolling for the Hardhats. He has men on first and second with no one out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Hardhats have scored in back-to-back innings now and have a 6-0 lead. Already plated 1 in this frame. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Daniels, the reliever, deals, and that's a breaking ball low and away. Good eye from Sumption to not chase it. And now the count goes full. Daniels working on what would be his 13th pitch in relief. And the payoff to Sumption. Swung on, and the ball is pushed into right field for a base hit. Caldwell gets the green light. He rounds third. He's going to come in to score. The throw comes from right field, and then it takes a hop in the dirt, and it goes all the way to the backstop. And everybody's going to hang on at their respective bases. It'll be Jackson on third, and it'll be Sumption on second. So Sumption will get an RBI single and advance on the throw. Caldwell's going to come in to score. Jackson will stay at third. Back-to-back RBI hits for the Hardhats. It's a 7-0 lead with 2 men in scoring position for Ryan Schmidt. Bottom of the 5th inning, and the Hardhats are just piling it. Connor Daniels from the stretch. First pitch. Low and inside. Skips away from home, but towards the third baseline, so Jackson could make a play on the plate. 1-0 the count here to Schmidt. Schmidt 2 for 2. Pair of singles, one of the RBI variety, and he scored a run. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Called strike. Fastball inside. Just broke the bottom of the zone right at the knees. 1-1 now to Schmidt. Sumption on second. Holden Jackson on third. No outs here in the bottom of the 5th. 1-1 pitch. Skips low and inside. Almost hit Schmidt, but skips away from him. And once again up the third baseline, so Jackson couldn't try and take advantage of that play. 2 balls and a strike now the count. And here's the 2-1. Swung on, fouled off. That goes into the crowd, first base side. 2-2 now to Schmidt. Schmidt looking to keep the train rolling. He's batting 1,000 in the ballgame. 2 for 2 in as many plate appearances. Here's his 2-2 pitch. Check swing, he didn't go. It was a low breaking ball, and the count goes full. So another payoff pitch, back-to-back at-bats that Connor Daniels is throwing a payoff pitch. And here's the payoff pitch, and it's fouled. And the count will remain full to Schmidt. Mason Messenger is on deck. He's 0 for 1 with a reach on an error and a walk. So 2 free passes for him. Payoff number 2 to Schmidt is check swung. And it's low and inside, and he did not go. Umpire did not say he went. That's another walk, and that loads up the bases for Messenger. Messenger knocked in a run the last time when he reached on the air. It was a hot shot to short. So we'll see if he can get his first hit of the ball game. No outs, bases loaded, bottom of the fifth. The Messenger's first pitch is low. 1-0. Ball and no strikes to count to Messenger, and that next pitch is high and away. 2 balls, no strikes. Messenger has every base occupied. There's nowhere to put him. So a walk would knock in a run. Schmidt on first, Sumption on second, Jackson on third. And the 2-0. Swung on. That ball's hit high in the air, center field. That ball has some legs on it, and it's caught on the play by King. 1 run's going to come in to score, and advancing to third is Zach Sumption. An RBI sac fly for Mason Messenger. And the Hardhats lead is now 8-0. With 1 out, men on the corners here in the bottom of the fifth. And now back to the top of the Hardhats order we go to King. Jackson in to score, Sumption to third. Schmidt stays put on first. Men on the corners here for King, who is fresh off of his first hit of the ball game. Came back in the bottom of the fourth. RBI single with men on first and second. An RBI infield hit as well. Connor Daniels, the lefty, looking at the only lefty in the Hardhats batting order. There's his first pitch. Too far inside, almost hit him. 1-0. Ball and no strikes to count here to King. Men 90 feet to his left and right. Bottom of the fifth, an 8-0 Hardhats lead. Next pitch is low and away. Runner tries to go. They've caught him in a rundown. They're still trying to see what the third base runner is going to do. And now the third base runner is going to try and take off home. And the throw home is not in time. A well-executed double steal for the Hardhats. As heading to second was Schmidt. He baited the throws perfectly. And Sumption came in to score, and it's a 9-0 Hardhats lead. Unbelievable. Ball and no strikes the count. And now they're checking to second, and the throw is not there in time. So Schmidt stays put on second, and he's safe. 2 balls, no strikes to count here to King. And that's a called strike. It'll be 2-1. 2-1 now, the count to King. King has a man on second and 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth. Hardhats have played it 4 more and now have a 9-0 lead. Here's the 1-1. There's 2-1, excuse me. And that's upstairs. 3 balls and a strike. Now the count. 3-1 to King with a man on second. And they feign the check to second, and King's going to call for time anyway. So 3-1 now the count. King looking for his first walk of the ball game. Leads the Hardhats with 27 of them on the season. Here's his 3-1. Called strike. And now the count goes full. 3-2 to King. Schmidt on second. Patiently waiting to see what happens next. 1 out, bottom of the fifth, a 9-0 Hardhats lead. And the 3-2 skips low, and it goes off the mask of the catcher. But Frankie is able to hang on to it without allowing Schmidt to come home or King to head to second. That ball took a crazy spike into the dirt. And with 1 out, King draws a walk, and Schmidt advances to third on the wild pitch. Men on the corners now, and that'll bring up Ryan Bachman. Bachman 1 for 3, fresh off of an RBI single. Bachman was batting .393 coming into the matchup. With runners in scoring position, he's batting .455. Chance for another RBI in the game. First pitch, a fastball, called strike from the lefty Daniels. It's 0-1. Bachman grounded out, reached on an error, and then hit the ribby single, and that came back in that bottom of the fourth. Hardhats have done some serious damage these last two innings. Here is the 0-1 to Bachman. Pitches, breaking ball, fouled. And it's 0-2. King on first, Schmidt on third. No balls, 2 strikes to Bachman. And Daniels' 0-2 pitch is high and away. 1-2. Cooper Bowman patiently waiting in the on-deck circle. If he comes up, which he most certainly will, the Hardhats will have batted through the lineup in this inning. 1-2 pitch. That misses low. 2-2. Ryan Bachman up with men 90 feet to his left and right. One out here in the bottom of the fifth. Hardhats came in up 5-0. Currently up 9-0 at the moment. Here is the 2-2 pitch. And that's high and away, and the count goes full. So credit Bachman, who was in a hole. Now has a payoff pitch coming his way. Three balls, 2 strikes to count. And here's the payoff pitch from Daniels to Bachman. Ball is swung on, and it's fouled into Rapid Creek, first base side. And out of play. Count will hold full. Three balls and 2 strikes. Payoff pitch number 2 coming from Daniels to Bachman. Men on the corners. Payoff number 2. High and away, ball 4. And Bachman will take the walk. 1 out walk will now load the bases, advancing King to second. Schmidt stays put on third. Bases loaded for probably the last person you want to see in a scenario like this, and that's Cooper Bowman. Bowman batting .553 coming into this game with runners in scoring position. He's 1 for 3 on the ball game. He has hit into a double play. And he's singled. First pitch is low, 1-0. Nowhere to put Bowman. So if he walks, the Hardhats have a 10-0 lead. It's 9-0 right now with every base occupied. There's the 1-0. That misses low. And Schmidt stays put at third. It was blocked in front of the catcher, 2-0. Clayton Frankie has his work cut out for him behind home plate. He's had to block quite a lot. And he got very unlucky on that spike that just broke away from him to allow Schmidt to take third. 2-0, called strike. Fastball inside at the belt. 2-1 to Bowman. 2-1 the count. And here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. 2-2 to Bowman with the bases loaded and 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth. Hardhats up 9-0. No runs, no hits, 3 errors for the Mavericks. 9 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Hardhats. And Daniels, 2-2 to Bowman. Skips low, and the count goes full. All important next pitch is a payoff pitch. If it's strike 3, some of the pressure is relieved. If the ball's put in play, the scoreboard blows up. If it's ball 4, Hardhats get a run knocked in. Payoff pitch to Bowman. Swung on. Ball is hit in the left field for a base hit. 1 run's going to come in and score. They're sending King. He rounds third. The throw home is not there in time. A 2-run RBI single for Cooper Bowman. It's an 11-0 Hardhats lead with 1 out and men on first and second here in the bottom of the fifth. Bachman stays put at second. King and Schmidt come in to score. Hardhats have batted through the lineup. That'll bring up Jack Sorensen, the man that started off this whole inning with a single on the first pitch of the frame. And his first pitch this time is outside for ball 1. 1-0 to Sorensen, who's 1 for 3. Single, run scored. He's also grounded into a double play and flown out. Here's his 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball low and away. 2-0. 10th batter of the inning, and it's Sorensen twice. 11-0 the Hardhats lead. 2-0 pitch, low and away. 3 balls, no strikes to Sorensen, and he's a pitch away from loading the bases up for another person that you probably don't want to do that for, and that's Jace Caldwell. Jace Caldwell, the DH, has just smacked the ball this season. 3-0. That's low, ball 4, and Sorensen takes a 4-pitch walk with 1 out, and it loads the bases up again. Bachman shifts to third, Bowman to second. Sorensen trots to first. So here comes Jace Caldwell. Caldwell with runners in scoring position, batting .415 on the season. We have a mound visit coming up. I don't know if this is necessarily a pitching change or a pep talk. But with 1 out, bases loaded, the game can end on 1 swing. It's a 15-run rule after 5 innings. If Caldwell leaves the ballpark, not only would it be the first time he's done it with every base occupied, but that would end the ballgame. These next couple of at-bats for the Hardhats are very crucial because Caldwell right now represents the winning run, or the game-ending run, I should say. The Hardhats are already up, so it would be the game-ending run. Connor Daniels in relief, by the way, has only registered 1 out, and he's thrown 45 pitches in this inning. Something to think of. Daniels' first matchup against Caldwell, first pitch. Skips low. 1-0. Again, nowhere to put Caldwell, so if they walk him, it's 12-0 Hardhats, not 11. Right now it stands at 11-0. Here in the bottom of the 5th, bases loaded, 1 out. Next pitch to Caldwell also misses low. Ball's blocked, and everybody will hang on at their respective base. 2-0 to Caldwell. Two balls, no strikes the count. Daniels from the stretch again. Lefty pumps his 2-0. Swung on, ball's chopped into left field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. 1 run's going to come in and score. Bowman rounds third. He's going to come in to score. A 2-run RBI single for Jace Caldwell. And the Hardhats now have a 13-0 lead with men on first and second. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. That'll bring up Holden Jackson. The 1 out offense for the Hardhats in this inning has just decimated this Mavericks club. The first out was a sac fly RBI to Mason Messenger. Jackson fouls off his first pitch and is behind 0-1. And since then, it's been free passes and then multi-RBI base hits. Jackson 1 for 2. Pop out to the catcher. A walk, RBI single, pair of runs scored. And his 0-1 pitch misses low, and it's a ball and a strike. When we have a long break in the action, I'll give you a complete summary of the inning. At-bat for at-bat. Here comes the 1-1 to Jackson. Pitch is swung on and fouled over Shep's Peak. To my right from the press box vantage point, 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Daniels looking for a key strikeout here. And the 1-2 to Jackson is a breaking ball pushed towards second base. Stop is made on the run. Throw to first is in time. And it'll advance both runners to scoring position. A nice stop by James Martin to pick up a big second out. It moves Caldwell to second, and it moves Sorensen to third. And that brings up Zach Sumption. If Zach Sumption knocks both of these gentlemen in, the ball game comes to an end. If he doesn't, we'll have to go to the top of the 6th. But Zach Sumption can end the ball game with a swing of the bat right here. First pitch. Swung on, ball's hit right back up the middle. That's a base hit into shallow center. Rounding third is Caldwell. He's going to head home. There is no throw, and that is going to do it. The Hardhats are going to take the win, 15-0 over the Missoula Mavericks here in Game 1 of the Firecracker Tournament. Zach Sumption, the first pitch he saw. 2-run RBI hit right up the middle. And the Hardhats scored 2 runs in the span of 15 runs in the span of 2 innings to take a 15-0 win over the Mavericks. And it's a no-hitter for Dylan Ritchie as well. The most unconventional of ways for Dylan Ritchie to get a no-hitter. But sure enough, he got it. 15 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Hardhats, no runs, no hits, 3 errors for the Mavericks. Unbelievable. What a game that was for Post 22. The final inning read 10 runs on 8 hits, no errors, and a man left on for Post 22. And the final numbers across the board read 15 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Hardhats, and no runs, no hits, and 3 errors for the Mavericks. Folks, we'll take a step aside, and we'll be right back with a post-game show to summarize where we stand in the Firecracker standings. Sign off and say so long till tomorrow night when the Hardhats will take on Merced, California in Game 2. We'll be right back here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. Dylan Ritchie somehow, in the most unconventional of ways, kind of became a side story to what was a 15-0 win for the Hardhats. Everybody was so focused on the 10 runs scored in the bottom of the 5th to end the game prematurely that everybody forgot Dylan Ritchie didn't allow a single hit in the ball game. His 5th win of the year is a no-hitter for the Hardhats in a game that should have been 9 innings, and it ended in 4 less. 4 and a third less, I should say. It took 1 hour and 51 minutes. It started 1 hour and 6 minutes late. My goodness, what a night this was for Post 22. A great way to kick off the 43rd Firecracker Tournament. Final score is a 15-0 win for the Hardhats, and that's part of the tournament rules. It's an 8-run rule after 7 innings, 6.5 if the home team's leading, and it's a 15-run rule after 5 innings, 4.5 if the home team leads. And we were in the bottom of the 5th when the 15th run was scored. Zach Sumption got the walk-off, if you will, to ensure the win for the Hardhats. This final score does not tell the whole story, though. Granted, yes, it tells the story that Dylan Ritchie played some phenomenal baseball on the mound. He got a no-hitter, but the first 3 innings, it was scoreless ball. The first 3.5 innings was scoreless ball. And then you get into the bottom half of the 4th, and that's when the Hardhats brought up 8 batsmen out of 9 to take the plate. They scored 5 runs on 5 hits. They got some help from 2 errors as well. And it was incredible that the Hardhats were able to take advantage of some of that offense. And it started off with, I wouldn't necessarily say a blunder, but a great defensive play to start off the inning. Jace Caldwell hits a screamer into left off the wall, thinks he has a leadoff double, stretches his single into 2, and he gets thrown out at second. Sam Busey, to all of his credit, he played the ball very well off the left field wall, and it allowed him to get a good relay in, and Caldwell was out by quite some distance to second. So he gets registered out. But then walk, single, RBI single, error that knocks in a run, RBI infield hit, RBI single, gave the Hardhats some life, and they would have kept going if Cooper Bowman didn't hit into the double play. That ends that frame 5-0. Hardhats are riding the momentum. Dylan Ritchie does fantastic in the top of the 5th, gets his 4th strikeout of the start, and he then sets the table up for the Hardhats to keep their momentum going. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, if the Hardhats get 10 runs, the game's over. But 5-0, you're not really thinking that. You're thinking more the 7-inning, 8-run rule maybe. Maybe Dylan Ritchie gets to pitch an inning or 2 more. And the Hardhats just let the Mavericks pay for it. 10 runs on 8 hits. No errors were charged. It was pure offense for the Hardhats and free base running. Here is how the inning read through 13 batters. Jack Sorensen, leadoff single, came around to score. Jace Caldwell, a walk, came around. Holden Jackson, RBI single, scored. Zach Sumption RBI single, stolen base and scored. Ryan Schmidt, walk, he scored. Mason Messenger, sac fly, RBI. Connor King, a walk, he scored. Bachman, a walk, he scored. Cooper Bowman, 2-run RBI single, he scored. Jack Sorensen, a walk, he scored. Jace Caldwell, a 2-run RBI single, he scored. And then Zach Sumption, after Holden Jackson grounded out, got the 2-run RBI single, and that ended it for him as well. 10 runs in the inning. Connor Daniels came out in relief and threw 53 pitches in the 2/3 of an inning that he threw. And he allowed 6 hits and 10 runs to come across, and all of them were earned. So it was unfortunate to see that turn of events for him. 5 walks in the inning, not a single strikeout on 53 pitches. And the Hardhats win it in 5, and Dylan Ritchie notches a no-hitter. First no-hit win of the season for the Hardhats. First no-hitter that I've called since my 4th game as the broadcaster of Post 22 3 years ago. It's absolutely incredible. Dylan Ritchie played a fantastic game. 5 innings, went the distance in this case. He threw 83 pitches. He struck out 4 in the game as well. And he gave up a couple of free passes, 5 walks and a hit batsman. But the walks and the hit batsman didn't hurt him at all. 4 strikeouts to 6 free base runners, and not a single one of them crossed home plate. So, and for the longest time, if he did give up a base runner, didn't he leave first? But in the 3rd inning, he had 2 runners in scoring position, stranded them both. The 4th inning had a runner in scoring position, stranded them both. I guess there was another runner on first. And then at the top of the 5th, there was a guy on first trying to get himself to scoring position, and he was thrown out by a mile by Ryan Schmidt. He was caught stealing. So now here is how the tournament pans out, folks. The Hardhats are one of the only 3 undefeated teams left. Rocky Mountain defeated Merced, California in a nail-biter. 7-6 was the final. And then Terre Haute, Indiana took a 9-6 win over the Premier West Cardinals out of Denver. So Rocky Mountain, Terre Haute, and the Hardhats are all 1-0. Merced, California, Premier West, and the Missoula Mavericks are all 0-1. Tomorrow's schedule reads 11 a.m. The Mavericks will come right back to it and play, so not much rest time for them, considering we started this game late, and even though it finished early, still 10 o'clock, so not much time for them to rest, just less than a little over 24 hours, They'll take on Terre Haute, Indiana. And then at 3 o'clock, Rocky Mountain will take on Premier West. The 7 o'clock nightcap features the Hardhats taking on Merced, California. Dylan Ritchie gets the no-hitter in the most unconventional of ways. His team prevents him from coming out for the 6th inning. They score 10 runs in the bottom of the 5th to win 15-0. Final tally across the board, 15 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Hardhats. And the Mavericks, no runs, no hits, and 3 errors. Folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will see you tomorrow for day 2 of Firecracker action presented by Camping World, the 43rd running of this tournament. Good night, and we will see you tomorrow for game 2.